technical difficulties that we've experienced over the last 15 minutes. But now we're live and we're ready to go. And with that, Clerk Kornecki, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Davis.
Here.
Trustee Aiello. Trustee Bolfus.
Here.
Trustee Taglia.
Here.
Trustee Case.
Here.
Trustee Wagner.
Here.
President Bullwinkle.
Here. Would all please rise for the pledge? Jan Fiola, our Director of Economic Development, would you lead us in the pledge? Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could all remain standing for one more second. Trustee Taglia, would you please lead us in a prayer?
Certainly. Our Heavenly Father, will Thou be pleased to grant that this meeting, thus begun in order, be conducted in peace and closed in harmony. Amen.
All right. Our first meeting of 2014. Number 3 on the Committee of the Whole agenda, amendments of the agenda. Does anybody on the board have any amendments that you'd wish to make to our Committee of the Whole agenda? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to item number 4. Consider a proposal from Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited, CBBEL, for preparation of a comprehensive flood plan. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The storms in April 2013 affected many portions of the village. During and after the storm, village staff gathered flood-related data, took numerous photos, developed maps identifying affected areas, and interviewed residents to obtain more details regarding the nature and impact of the floods. Village staff wishes to develop a new comprehensive flood plan that would incorporate data from this and other recent storms to identify and prioritize future flood control projects. Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ltd. has submitted a proposal in the amount of $110,000 for this purpose. CBBEL will use hydraulic computer modeling methods to determine existing levels of flood protection and to develop drainage improvements. The study area will encompass the entire village outside the Sugar Creek Basin, including combined sewer areas. Christopher Burke has provided similar services to numerous communities in the region. The project costs would be divided between the Stormwater Buyout Fund and our Wastewater Fund. Thank you, Your Honor. We do have a representative from Christopher Burke Company, and our Director of Engineering, Director Giskelis, is also here this evening that would like to comment on this particular project.
Yes, why don't we start there? I'm sure there's going to be questions from the public as well as from the board, but let's start with the two of you, however you want to divide and conquer this, and come to the podium and kind of explain what's going on, what this is all about, and fill in as many blanks as you can, and then we'll get into the questions.
Okay. Well, back, I think, is it in April or May? And we had a town hall meeting at Willowbrook High School. We presented numerous pictures, and actually Dr. Burke was there and gave a little bit presentation about the basics of drainage. Well, what we've been doing since then is compiling a lot of data from the storm, interviewing residents, developing maps, and then looking at our existing stormwater plans to see what we need going forward to develop new projects. So the first step in the approach we did a few months ago when we obtained funding for the Hurricane Ike grant, and that was a study of the combined sewer area. Now this is the second phase of that update of our comprehensive plan, is to actually look at the overland drainage. And Jerry Robinson is here from Chris Burke Engineering. He could perhaps go into a little bit of detail as to what they will be doing.
Sure, that would be great. Okay. Thank you.
Basically, this type of work we have done for many other municipalities. For example, City of Elmhurst, your neighbor just to the east. We are scheduled to put together the data that the village has assembled, take that data, put it into computer models, and those computer models help us analyze problem areas that exist within the village. So the areas that you pretty much know where they are, but this is to look at the overall system we need to do this because in order to solve the problem, we have to know, how the system responds to different types of rainfall, whether the rain occurs very quickly or whether it occurs, whether you have an inch of rain over a whole day. Is that type of storm causing problems to your system? So those are the type of simulations that we'll do. And once we know how your system responds to those type of events, then we start to put together proposed solutions to that problem. And then obviously there's a cost associated with the various improvements. Some are less expensive than others. And so we put together kind of a summary report that lists and goes through all that. The proposal lists the 10 areas, I think it's 10 areas, that staff has identified that are probably, I would say, the critical areas that we've identified to look at. And if other areas come up during the modeling, then we'll add those in as part of the overall study. And so then the final thing that will come back to you is a report with recommendations for how do we solve this, how do you get your arms around that, and probably most importantly for you, how much is it going to cost? So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing.
One of the things that we will do is to take a look at our existing 5-year capital improvement program, because we already have drainage projects identified in our current 5-year plan. So that information will also be provided to the consultant so they can look at to say, okay, are we on the right track with these projects? Are we doing the right improvements? Should we be doing something different? There's one thing I think it was said at the town hall meeting, why don't we just build a bigger storm sewer? Well, that answer may be obvious, but let me repeat it just the same. You can't just put in a bigger pipe and send the water somewhere else. You have to convey the water to some place where it will cause no harm to somebody else. That's the challenge, is finding out where the water's going now and where can the water be conveyed where it will not do any harm or do less harm than it does now.
Your Honor.
Yes, please, Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think we should probably mention for the folks at home the 9 to 10 different areas that we're going to study, if you could. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Trustee Wagner has maybe one other area he'd like to add to the list.
Well, we are going to be studying the entire village. Let me start with that. These are just clusters that we identified on our storm map that we wanted to make sure we bring to attention. And don't forget, this study does not include the Sugar Creek Basin, so those problem clusters have not been included on the list either. But the list that's in the report is 400 South Monterey Avenue, Astor Court and Myrtle Avenue, Washington Street, Elm Street from Michigan Avenue to Ardmore Avenue, Summit Avenue from Division to St. Charles, Villa Avenue from Summit to the UP to Charles Avenue, Twin Lakes area, the Odium, Michigan between Kenilworth and Central. Those have been specifically identified. Now, as I said before, these are not exclusive, and the map does pretty much, or maps, because there are 3 different rain events we're going to use for this study. We'll identify other locations.
Okay. You have anything else to add?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Do you all have anything else to add before we open it up to questions from the public?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to have you take your seats now, but stay close, because we might have some questions from the public. Is there anybody from the public who has any questions about this? Okay. Cheryl, you want to state your name for the record?
Yep, Cheryl Tucker, 344 South Cornell.
Okay. What questions
Did
do you
we
have?
not do the drains in that road survey that we had? Wasn't that you mentioned in the Willowbrook thing when they did the survey of all our streets and roads? Wasn't part of it the drains that they were doing?
Are you talking about when the Dynaflex machine went down the roadway? Didn't we
Correct.
take?
Wasn't the drains part of that?
No, it was at that particular time, we're just taking the Dynaflex of the roads itself, cracks, patches, and probably depth, things of that nature, no.
Okay, because I thought the sewer lines and stuff on the roads were also part of that survey.
They may be on the video. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but that may be a different module or something we'd have to bring forward at a later time. But for the Dynaflex, for the IMS data, that's not part of the collecting the drain data,
Because
no.
I thought that was what they had mentioned on that was part
But-
of it, was
Yeah,
the,
if Director Jascalis, if at this point you have something to add to that while we're at this point in the questioning.
Well, the analysis was of the pavements only. What we were also doing is with the videotape, we were videotaping the location of certain items within the right-of-way.
Absolutely.
So particularly the trees and some of the structures, it was giving us GPS coordinates of the location.
Right.
But no hydraulic analysis, no flood analysis, strictly location determination.
Okay, all right. Okay.
the
All right.
question.
That's a good
I
question.
have,
Yeah, that's a good question.
The models that they're putting together.
Is this, you have a second question now?
Yes.
Okay, what's
the
your second question?
Second question is the models that you put in the hydraulic models, is it taking an effect of the natural changes that are gonna happen if we have road construction on there also?
Yes. Would either, who would like to take on that question?
I know
It's a good
that
question.
anything that is proposed, certainly the village is going to provide to us as part of that. So we're gonna take that into account with the modeling and let you know, maybe this overflow route needs to be changed, or if we do something different here, we could incorporate that. But anything that is planned in the village pipeline for construction will certainly include that.
You would
And-
have to.
And as I said before, then we'll make specific recommendations for what to do with that, so.
Okay, all right. And yes, Manager Keener.
Well, thank you, Honor. I'd like to add, when the rain event occurred, I think everyone can remember back to April when we were at the town hall meeting and we were discussing some of this. But Director Jascalis and myself met in my office after the rain events, and we discussed the areas of concern. And what we did is we took the areas of concern, the areas of flooding, whether it be Twin Lakes, whether it was Monterey, whether it was Wildwood, whether it was Lufkin, drain detention basin. But we took those areas that we had issues or flooding and put those on a map throughout the village. And from those clusters, we looked at each other and we decided we need to resolve the issues of those particular areas. And one of the ways to resolve those issues is what we're doing this evening with developing a comprehensive plan which will address these issues by a third-party consultant to tell us how to remedy what is happening in there in those particular areas. If you remember, we can all take a look at some of the photos back here. I had staff change these today, but these are a result of some of our floods. And there's Willowbrook High School area right there to our left that that's one of our flood events. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, part of the structure washed away, if I'm not mistaken, due to the floods. So that's being or was repaired. So we're looking at all sorts of areas, as we mentioned. We'll be looking at least 9 to 10 different areas, plus throughout the village. So this comprehensive plan, I believe, is a first step to remedying these areas. And Your Honor, we've often talked about Astor and Myrtle and what we could do in Twin Lakes and Neodium and Lufkin that needs to be enlarged, things of that nature. So this is just the first step. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, thank you. Any other questions from the public before we move on to questions and comments from the board? Okay, I'll open it up to the board. Yes, Trustee Bolfus.
You know, I'd have a question or two.
Yes, that's good.
We got a list here of 9 that the staff has picked out as problem areas. How did you come up with the 9? When we look at all these pictures around here, I'm looking here at Addison and Madison, Addison Road north of Madison, which is a low spot in town, but that isn't on your list of 9. How did you come up with the?
Okay, I could explain Addison. Addison is in the Sugar Creek Basin.
It is.
That one will be covered by
Really?
the other study, which
Oh.
will be the next one we're going to be presenting
That's interesting.
down the road.
Oh, okay.
So one of the reasons why we picked the areas we're picking today is because we've been informed that there's going to be some grant funding available through the county, but it's going to be income-based. So we selected the areas of the village that we thought would have the best chance of having the possibility of obtaining some of those funds. I believe it's $7 million countywide, and it's we were told it's leftover Sandy money that will be funneled through the county, and it will be given out using a block grant formula. So looking at the census tracts, the Sugar Creek Basin unfortunately did not meet the income levels for this grant. So that's why it was kind of a toss-up which of the two studies to go with first. That's why we picked this one first, because of the possibility of grant funding. But we will be studying those other areas as well.
Okay, but not part of this process, or it'll be done during this process?
I think there'll be a cursory review of that area as part of this process, but not as in-depth as
Yeah.
some of the other areas.
We need
Well, I
John
hate to
Mike.
tell the people in that area that, you know, they're gonna get a cursory review, you know.
We're definitely coordinating with the other consultants that are working in this area and that would likely be doing the more detailed study. There is some flow that kind of goes back and forth between the areas, and that's part of what this study is going to identify. So I wouldn't call it cursory, but it's more, we're definitely going to look at those areas right on the borders and make sure that we're addressing those, and, you know, if we have specific recommendations, if it looks like the water's coming from an area, you know, if it's ponding up and then spilling over towards Sugar Creek, we're certainly going to identify that as a problem area as part of this overall study.
I understand that, you know, we're doing this for possibly some grants, but as a board member, I need to have a whole overview of the whole village to understand where the problems are and what it takes to be solved, not just one area because they're going to possibly have the income level that makes them eligible for grants. I'm concerned about the whole village, not, you know, just.
Well, and that's why we divided up the village into 3 separate projects. The first project was the combined sewer area, which was through the Hurricane Ike grant funding. This is the second piece. And then the third piece, because Sugar Creek Basin has some characteristics and problems that we feel need more in-depth study. That's going to be a whole separate study just of that basin. We've already started with the mapping, looking at the mapping analysis in that area. So the detailed study of Sugar Creek will be another component of that, but that'll be a component all by itself.
It makes it kind of hard to make a yearly comprehensive improvement in our budgets, you know, if we don't have as much information as we.
Well, if I had the funding to do all 3 at once, I would have presented all 3 at once.
Yeah, but we have to pick out priorities, you know, but otherwise we're just sort of shooting in the dark somewhat, so. One of my other questions was, this is basically has to do with overland flooding,
Yes.
right? What about any overland flooding we get from neighboring communities? How is that going to be analyzed? And
We include the areas, for instance, the areas in Lombard that drain towards you, or the areas in Addison that drain from the north, and, you know, along Salt Creek, obviously the Odeon is receiving water, you know, from all of Salt Creek. That's all included in our analysis of this overall tributary area. So we do look at those communities that are contributing to that, and we quantify that water and look at how that's affecting you. And then, you know, if it could be that we have specific recommendations. Fortunately, we also work with the Village of Lombard. We work with Addison. We work with, you know, pretty much all of your neighbors all around you. And so we know that it's as Director Giskella said, it's important that, you know, we have to store this water, we have to take care of the water and not cause problems to the other people. And also, if it does look like the water's coming from somewhere else, you know, those are the type of things that we'll highlight as part of this overall study.
I did notice too, in one of your tasks that you, in your scope of service is task 6, proposed conditions analysis, you will propose drainage improvements will involve the creation and utilization of flood storage on open parcels. That's gonna be a little bit of a problem. We don't have that many open parcels. And in the study area, and also you provide underground storage? What is that? What are you talking about with that?
Typically, it's very expensive. We try and use it only in limited areas. It would consist of basically taking up the street infrastructure and placing a chamber basically along the street. It's just like a big box culvert. It's typically because we need to maximize space. There are other alternatives that are, for instance, plastic pipe, but usually we don't have enough depth to do that. So that's what we're typically talking about when we talk about underground storage as an option. We've done that in Elmwood Park in a limited basis, but it's very expensive, and we try to only use it where we absolutely have no other alternative to do that.
I was just kind of curious what that was. That's all I have right now, Madam President. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the board? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President.
Welcome.
I had a concern similar to Trustee Bultius. My concern is a specific area. It's the area, it's South Michigan Avenue between Adams and Madison. Is that considered to be part of the Sugar Creek watershed or drainage area as well? Those people had, I know that there are many areas that people suffered and had, but
Well,
this particular area really had problems.
the whole area north of Madison will be included because it's part of the combined sewer area. And part of what this study will do is to run the hydraulic analysis on the storm sewers in the combined sewer area to see what remaining capacity there is. The other contract is looking at the combined sewers at their capacity. So those two will be those two consultants will be working together. One will be looking at the combined sewers, the other one will be looking at the storm sewers in the same area. So the combined area will be addressed as part of this study, even if it is in the Sugar Creek Basin.
Okay, and so
That's north of Madison.
this is actually south of Madison. It's between
Okay.
Adams and Madison.
Then that would be part of the Sugar Creek Basin study.
You mentioned Hurricane Ike funding. Was that federal money, and when did we get that?
Well, the contract was awarded sometime last year. It was $95,000.
Okay.
And it was 100% funding to look at the combined sewer system. And it will be an addendum to our comprehensive plan.
Okay. And then in the memorandum, it mentions that we had the last study was 1981.
That is our current flood control study is dated 1981. I have a copy in my office.
I think it would be very interesting to see that. I'd love to get a copy of that.
That would be very interesting.
I think we have it available in PDF. I think we scanned it.
Just one final question I had, and similar to Trustee Bultius. Number 6, you mentioned it's XP swim analysis. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah.
XP SWIM, the SWIM is an acronym. It was a model developed by the Environmental Protection Agency back in the mid-'70s. It stands for Stormwater Management Model. I think I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. It's a model that is used to, in situations like this where most of your drainage is pipes and not open rivers, not open channels. That's the model that we like to use because it helps us analyze how does the water react, how does it flow through the piping system, are there enough inlets, we can easily simulate, is there enough capacity for that, and then it links together then the overland flow routes, and then we can then determine flood elevations associated with that. So it's just a computer model. It's the acronym that EPA came up with way back when. The XP part of it is there's actually a private company that has made a nice front end on it that's graphical, that's easier for the engineers to add things and subtract things, and just basically makes things go faster for us. So that's what the XP swim, that's the full terminology for it.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Welcome. Anybody else from the board? Trustee Case?
The entire village, does this include the entire village, 110,000?
It includes it's pretty much the northern 2/3 of the village is what I would call it. Sugar Creek is really
So it's not
the
the
southern
entire
end.
village then?
Correct, no.
What's the other third cost?
We,
You have to find out.
we didn't generate that cost.
I know.
You know, that wasn't,
What was RJN?
Anybody else? Yep.
Take that and divide it by 3 and maybe at 20,000.
Well, it just says entire village, so I include the entire village as the entire village.
Well, they will look at the entire village, they won't model the entire village. I should say that.
Yes, you need to be up.
They will look at the entire village, but they will not model the entire village. That's the distinction.
Okay, so, but.
The
they will
maps
look
we're
at the-
giving them are of the entire village,
Okay, so they will look at the entire village for 110,000.
but they will model 2/3 of it.
Okay.
Minus the Salt Creek area, basically. Sugar Creek area. That's the other third that we won't get
So that's
to.
like an extra.
Well,
Yes.
My question is answered.
Yes.
okay. Trustee Bolfus.
The Sugar Creek study is being done by who?
That hasn't been presented yet.
Okay. But you did mention something about a 95,000,
That's the combined sewer
oh, it's a
area
combined
study.
sewer.
That covers the combined sewer areas, which is the middle third. So there's overlap between the combined sewer area and the northern 2/3 because it's partially separated. So you have combined sewers and storm sewers in the same area, and how they interact with each other is part of what we're trying to sort out. That's why we have to have the two consultants working together.
And who's the other consultant?
RJN is
RJN.
doing the Hurricane Ike study,
Right.
and we've met with them on at least 3 occasions together, all 3 of us.
just to let you know, the city of Elmhurst, we did the exact same thing with RJN. So we're actually doing the exact same type of coordination between the sanitary sewer, or they didn't have as many combined sewers, but that was RJN's focus, and then ours was the storm sewer part, so.
So you're used to working with them?
Correct,
so,
yes.
okay. One other question.
Yes, please.
I'm sure when we get these figures back, there's going to be a rather large cost of solving our flooding problems. And if the other board members remember, can refresh my memory, I think it was a few months ago, we had an item on the agenda for funding stormwater repairs. It was on with the water rate study, wastewater study, and the stormwater, which we tabled. Do we have any idea where we're at with that there? And I would think, though, we would need this information to help figure out what that proposal would be.
Manager Keener.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, actually, on the 27th of this month, staff will be before the board giving you an update during the committee of the whole portion of the agenda. We have taken the stormwater utility proposal and added some education credits and some detention credits. We've met with some businesses, we've met with some school districts, and through those meetings, we've taken their suggestions and incorporated them into our proposal. And we will be back here on the 27th of this month looking for direction if this board wants to go further and implement the utility.
Because the fact is that, you know, this money for this survey is coming out of 2 funds, which don't have a unlimited amount of money in them. So whatever the results are, it's going to take some funds, and we're going to have to find a funding source for that. So I just sort of want to give the residents a little heads up. So you might want to tune in on our next meeting. Thank you.
Trustee Case.
One more quick question.
Sure.
You said you've worked in Elmhurst already? Has
we
anything
need
been
you.
started in there yet, or are you still
We need you in
figuring
front of
out
the
data
podium
still?
there. And catch on mic.
Unfortunately, it was someone else in the firm, so I'm not privy. I know that we've made specific recommendations. Our report is done. I also know that we're doing additional work for them. I know we have put together this type of overall planning document, and then my understanding is the city is basically going through now and identifying, these are our priority projects. Let's refine this. Let's get it a little tighter. Let's get the budget, a little closer so that we're ready. We know what's going on. Unfortunately, I just don't have.
So no work has been performed yet? No.
They have
physical
done
work.
some improvements in their pump systems, but nothing,
Okay.
nothing of major import yet. And they're facing the same issues you are.
Right.
It's very expensive.
Are you good, Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
And Trustee Case? Trustee Wagner?
Just one question.
Okay.
Would there be savings if we could possibly find funds to include the Sugar Creek area in the study? I mean, I realize that you'd have to go back and recalculate what it would cost, but I'm just very concerned about folks in those areas that we're going to tell them, okay, well we're going to take care of this area first and you're next. And I think those folks really deserve to have, something, to know that we're looking at their problem as well.
Yes, Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. It appears, as Trustee Wagner, as you were mentioning, that it'd be my thought that maybe we could proceed this evening with the proposal before us, but direct staff to talk to Christopher Burke Engineering to see what doing the other third of the village, what the cost would be. I believe, just from our discussions this evening, that DuPage County will have a $7 to $8 million grant funding available for DuPage County, and it's staff's attempt to take this project and have it shovel ready at some point so that we can apply for those grant funds and do some things. But I would certainly like to be directed to bring back that third part of the village, et cetera, for a future proposal, whether it's on the 27th or the next meeting, something along those lines. Thank you, Your Honor.
Right, since that's out in the open here.
One more question.
Yes,
So
Trustee
this
Wagner.
this will come back on the formal agenda on the 27th.
That's correct. It'll have its first reading on the 27th.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, Trustee Bolfus.
If I'm hearing the manager correctly, he's asking if the board wants him to have a figure on what it would cost to include the other third of the village in a study. Now, I assume Christopher Burke here they're already looking at the whole village. So to add another third wouldn't be another $100,000, I don't think.
No.
So, maybe we should have it in a couple of weeks if that's possible, or for a month, and have it on for discussion to see if we want to, or just let us know what it would cost and see if we can have funding available for it.
Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Looked like you wanted to say something, that's why I threw you in there.
Yes, I mean, I'd be happy to direct staff to come back with an additional proposal discussing and the cost and scope of work for the additional aspect of the village. I'd certainly do that.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board? Trustee Davis, you're in deep thought. You okay down there?
Keep
Okay.
keeping it inside for now.
Okay. I absolutely would like to see that additional third come back so we have an idea of what that's going to cost. Have we ever studied that part before? Director? I mean, since 1981? I mean, really? We've never,
I have a proposal sitting on my desk for the other third.
yeah. Because really, we're looking at the whole village from a street repair perspective. And that certainly, that third of our population here in Villa Park will be included in that. So it seems like it makes sense for us to have the whole pie presented to us instead of 2/3.
The only thing that prevented
I'd like
us
to eat the whole
from
pie.
presenting all three pieces at once was funding.
Yeah. But if we can find out, because right now, what it would cost. Because right now, between the two funds, there's about just under $1 million in those two funds, between the stormwater buyout fund and the wastewater fund. So not a whole lot of money, but the $110,000 that's being proposed will come out of the two funds. But it would be nice to find out how much more it would cost. It sounds to me that might be where we are going on the board. Is that right? We want to see what the other additional
I'd like to
third
see
would be?
Well, he has it, right?
Looking for a,
He's already got it.
well, there you go. Trustee Case?
Is there any way you could change that proposal on your desk to 2001 to make us feel a little better?
No
I could
kidding.
try.
That's
Hit
a
the
rough
lead
one.
or
Yeah.
something.
1981, my gosh. Wow. It's due.
But it took us 20 years to implement that. That's how expensive it was, even back in '81.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Of course, that predates me.
And
Okay, yeah, all of us. Okay. So do we need a motion then for this? Consensus. Or a motion or a consensus? Just a consensus? Okay, consensus. We'll just consensus to move this forward, but with the caveat that staff will come back to us on January 27th, our next meeting, with the other third of the costs. So we'll have the whole picture in terms of how much this whole thing will cost us. All right, so if we can have a consensus on that, it'd be great.
Okay,
Yes.
trustee Bolthus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes, thank you for that information. Okay, item number 5 on the committee of the whole agenda, text amendment concerning the village's transit-oriented overlay district, TOD, regards to rezoning. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The first reading of an ordinance approving a text amendment rezoning of property from TOD Residential Overlay District 2 to TOD Residential Overlay District 1 in order to avoid confusion between the approved planned unit development plan for the village's garden station development project and the TOD overlay plan. Staff believes that amendment is necessary to figure 25.1B3 of the TOD overlay plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this amendment at their meeting on December 12th, 2013. So if Your Honor, if you're not confused before, you are now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And we do have Director
Yes.
Grill that is really liking to speak this evening
Yes,
on this
yes.
particular topic.
We were gonna call you up here. Kind of make sense of all this alphabet soup that the number soup that we just went through.
Yes.
Dr. Grill, our Director of Community Development.
Last summer, the board approved the village TOD overlay district for the area encompassing a few blocks around the village's train station on Ardmore. During that process, which took approximately about a year, one of the things that was always said about this proposed TOD overlay is that it encompassed the garden station plan within the portions of the plan. And this board did approve both the garden station PUD back in 2009 and then the overlay district just last summer. It was last fall that I noticed that there was a discrepancy between the PUD and the overlay district that was approved. That being at the southwest corner of Vermont and Beverly. That particular area was part of the TOD, was part of the garden station PUD. And the overlay district for that area called for a TOD Residential Overlay District 2. Now, the difference between the approved PUD and the Overlay District 2 was that the approved PUD included heights up to 6 stories in that particular portion. The TOD plan, the overlay district that was approved last year, only allowed development up to 4 stories in height. And again, it's just for what would be the west side of Beverly, south of Vermont, down to the train station. So in order to be consistent between the PUD that was approved in 2009 and the TOD overlay district that was approved just last summer, we need to amend just that west side of Beverly, south of Vermont, from the TOD residential overlay district 2 to the TOD overlay district 1, which would then mirror the approved PUD plan for Garden Station. Hopefully that cleared it up.
Can you repeat that?
Which part? Yeah, right. I do have with me, because I don't believe that, I don't know if your packet had a color plan in it for what we're talking about.
Didn't help a lot.
What I'll do first is give you what the current, just take one and hand it down, what the current TOD overlay district has for that particular area.
And this includes the west side of Ardmore. Ardmore to the
No, this
train tracks, or no?
only includes.
So that's gonna be, I know that's one question that somebody had.
And this is what
Let's look at
is
this.
proposed as part of the
Got it.
ordinance.
Yep.
The first handout shows the area on the west side of Beverly, south of Vermont, as TOD Residential Overlay District 2, which only permits residential development heights up to 4 stories. The second handout I provided shows a change on that west side of Vermont, on the west side of Beverly, south of Vermont, to TOD Residential Overlay District 1, which permits residential heights up to 6 stories, and then therefore would mirror the approved PUD plan for Garden Station. So we're only talking about basically that half block of Beverly, south of Vermont, going from a TOD Residential Overlay District 2 to TOD Residential Overlay District 1.
Before we get into questions and comments from the board, are there any questions from the public in regards to this? I see a member of our Planning and Zoning Commission. This was discussed during our last Planning and Zoning meeting, on December 12th, 2013, we said? So, want to state your name for the record?
Mike Orlowski, live in Villa Park. I just had one quick question.
Member of our Planning and Zoning Commission, too.
Member of the P&Z Commission, if Patrick could give us, the residents, an update on that PUD and where we're at as far as with the Golden Park.
Oh, the Golden Spike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. We just had a meeting with Rick Goldman, I think just before Christmas. He is, from his standpoint, the project is still moving forward. It's just a matter of the way projects like this have been financed have changed in the last few years. And whereas you could go to a single lender in the past to get funding for a project like this, no lender wants to take on that type of risk in this market currently. So what he's trying to do is get 2 or 3 banks together to fund it, so they all have a little bit of risk in that particular project. And that's where we're at right now. We're just waiting on him putting together a funding package that a couple of different banks can pick the risk up on.
Okay. Any other questions and comments from the public about this? Yes? Yes? Want to state your name for the record? Yes.
140 West St. Charles Road. Is that the portion that's in question, is that the portion that Gold Spike was going to make into the
We need you on.
townhouses? Is that what that was?
They were going to do a portion of townhouses on the first level and then apartments above that.
So they have a change in need now to go not that I'm for or against that, but is this so that they can go 6 stories on that whole block of land? Is that, the new change would allow that, is that right?
Well, no, actually, this change, which is a zoning change, would mirror what the approved PUD plan called for.
Oh, I understand, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Technicality. All right, yeah, but, all right, okay. We have another, Cheryl, I'm sorry, we need you up at the, we need you up at the, yeah. Do you have a question?
There is no confusion. This is not a change in the PUD that this board approved. This is merely having the zoning district mirror what that PUD plan allowed for. So this is not a change in the plan of Golden Spike Development.
Okay. All right. Okay, don't go too far yet. Make sure any other questions and comments from the public? We all good there? Okay. We're going to move on to questions and comments from the board about this. Any other questions? Any clarification? Okay. Trustee Davis, did you have something, or are you good?
No, that makes sense.
You're good? Okay. All right. And we're going to go to a roll call vote.
Okay.
Move this forward.
Trustee Bolthus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Item number 6 on the Committee of the Whole agenda, Sidewalk Program Change Order. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village has a contract with Globe Construction, Inc. of Addison, Illinois for the 2013 Sidewalk Improvement Program. The Sidewalk Improvement Program this year was a total success due to resident demand and interest. Staff is proposing final change order number 2 consisting of the final balancing of all contract quantities as measured in the field. The net amount of this proposed final change order number 2 is an addition of $2,037.70 for a revised contract amount of $112,387.70. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions and comments from the public about this? Questions and comments from the board? All right, I'm just thrilled that there was a lot of interest in our 50/50 sidewalk program. So we brought it back last year, and a number of residents as well as some businesses and also I believe some churches have taken advantage of it. So we were happy to be able to do that. Okay, with that, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Bolthus?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Item number 7, sale of public surplus vehicles. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. Pursuant to 65 ILCS 51174 or 76-4, the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Villa Park find it that the following described personal property now owned by the Village of Villa Park is no longer necessary or useful to the village, and the best interest of the village will be served by its sale via live internet auction. And Your Honor and Board and folks in the audience, I think we have about 9 or 10 vehicles, including a 1977 Honda Golden Wing, and it's staff desire to sell these via internet auction, just as we have in the past. Some other different models in this selection is a Honda Odyssey, a Mazda Protege, a Honda Civic. So in the past, we've sold the vehicles and received anywhere from a few thousand to close to 20,000, all depending on what condition the models are. But so we're hoping for a very successful internet auction. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Questions and comments from the public? This? Okay. Questions and comments from the board?
Madam President?
Yes. Trustee Wagner?
So these vehicles, these are seizure vehicles? These are,
Yes.
That is correct.
okay. And were these involved, folks involved in drug dealing, or I'm just curious?
Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, it could have been DUI, could be drug dealings, and I don't believe these are any of our cars that we're selling that are older, but what we usually do is that when the automobiles are collected and stored, and it takes some time for us to gain title, and sometimes we're not able to do that. For instance, we did confiscate maybe a 2009 Ducati, but unfortunately we couldn't sell it because the bank wanted it. But we do have a Golden Wing if you're interested. But these vehicles are confiscated and then sold once we gain title. What we do is we put minimum effort into making sure they run. We'll probably maybe change a battery, something like that, but to make it presentable, but we won't change any tires or brakes or anything like that. They're sold as is, and they're sold to the highest bidder, the person with the most cash.
I saw in the bill listing where we were requesting via title applications, and some of the vehicles that are on this list are on the, so do we have other vehicles that we're still waiting for title on?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, we have quite a few vehicles we're still waiting title on. And what we do, a lot of times, if we have a vehicle in-house that has 170,000 miles, and we have another seized vehicle that we have title to, and we have the ability to use that, we'll switch them out. We'll take the seized vehicle and get rid of the high mileage departmental vehicle. We've done that in the past, I believe, for a truck and maintenance services, and then we bought a plow and put it on the road and things of that nature, but which is less expensive than buying a new vehicle. But what we do with the proceeds, and I'm sure that's another question, is we'll take the proceeds from these vehicles and then buy another vehicle in the police department. So if it's a DUI or a seizure, then the funds from the sold vehicles go into buying new squad cars. It just makes sense. Thank you, Ron.
It's the fair way to do it. Okay, Trustee Davis.
Actually, two comments. One, we're limited by law what we can do with this money. So we can't just put it in a replacement vehicle fund. It has to do specific things. Secondly, will we be putting these on iBid or Ovenoff? Because we approved iBid, which I checked that just this week, and they don't have anything on there.
Yeah, the iBid, IGA is in their hands. Ovenoff does a pretty good job, but I mean, quite honestly, it's my feeling that if you're looking, you would have to know that these vehicles are being auctioned by Ovenoff. It's not something that a resident at home would say, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to go on Ovenoff's website. They might go on eBay and look. In my past, I've sold vehicles on eBay. Ovenoff, I think it does a pretty good job, and not to be critical or anything. We worded the measure this evening, the ordinance, to give staff flexibility in which internet device to use, whether it's Ovenoff, it's iBid, it's eBay, it's Craigslist. It's just worded vaguely this evening so that we have an opportunity to select the best one to get the most money for each vehicle. And I know that Director Giskelis and I have talked about iBid, so we may test out iBid this time and maybe a couple on eBay. So, thank you, Ron.
Anybody else on the board? Any questions? I just have one quick question. Where do we store these vehicles? There's 11 on the list now, plus more that. So I'm just curious to know, where do we store them?
Behind Jewel.
Yeah.
Seriously, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manager Keener, where
Oh,
do we
Your
store
Honor,
them?
that's a good question. We have a storage lot nearby that these vehicles are stored at, except for the motorcycle. The motorcycle is indoors. Any small vehicles like that are indoors, but there's no way that we would have enough space for all these vehicles inside. But yes, they are stored in one of our facilities nearby.
All right, great. Thank you. If we're all good, we will roll call vote then, please.
Okay, Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Case,
Yes.
Trustee Davis,
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia,
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Item number 8 on the Committee of the Whole agenda, Village Website Transparency Policy. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Village of Villa Park values an open and transparent dialogue with its residents. In order to meet that goal, staff recommends that the village institute the Village Website Transparency Policy. The village current transparency score is 91.4%. In enacting this transparency policy, it will codify the recommended practices by the Illinois Policy Institute. And I believe there was a memo attached to tonight's information with the various points of the transparency policy. And in that proposed policy, there's a section that has to do with salary. And what we've done as staff, that particular section on our website and transparency policy, right now we're at 94 or 91.4. To move towards 100 in that particular section, which is salary and benefits, and an ongoing basis moving forward. For instance, April 30th, we'll be done with our fiscal year. Those salaries and benefits are already on the website. However, fiscal year 2014-15 is not. So once we reach April 30th, and then we'll put on next fiscal year's salary and benefits, and that will provide us with more points. And we're moving forward in that particular section rather than going backwards and recalculating everyone's salary in different fiscal years to get the points. It's a lot of work to recalculate previous salary. So moving forward, at the end of each fiscal year, we'll gain more points by putting next fiscal year's salary and benefits on. Thus, we'll reach 100%. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions and comments from the public about this? I'm waiting in the wings for a while now. All right, questions and comments from the board? Trustee Taglia.
I just want to thank the village manager for keeping on this. He's done a really good job bringing transparency to our website and our village. So I want to thank you, Manager Keener, for your diligence and your hard work.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
But actually, I did a little bit of it, but our NIU intern, Adam Hall, I think, you know, I tasked him with this particular project, and Adam really came through. You know, working with Adam is, quite frankly, is a delight. But we're just not going to let him back up here because he talks way too much.
Good job, Adam.
He didn't think he talked enough.
Yeah,
He was fun.
but thank you, Trustee Taggett. But I think Adam did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
All right, Trustee Bolfus.
I didn't have any attachment or any information on this item at all on my information I received.
Okay.
Is it in your manager's report, or is it in the board
It has
packet?
been, but it should have been attached to this as a memo.
Yeah, that item wasn't even included.
Okay.
No.
Well, I can certainly get that for you, and if we'd like to delay voting,
Well, we can move it.
that's
Do
fine.
we
What's
have,
in there?
are we moving this, is this going to be a formal item that we have to vote on? It's not on tonight's agenda.
It should be,
I think it is under the consent.
I think it's under consent.
Yeah,
It's under
it's
consent?
under consent.
I'd sure like to see it.
You want to table? Yeah, yeah. We can, if you'd like to
Where
table
is
it,
it?
then we'll just pull it off the consent agenda
No, let's do that.
on the, whatever's going to make you comfortable.
Where's it, which item is it on the consent agenda?
It's not. I thought it was.
8.
Item number, let's see. Oh, maybe not.
So it's on next
It's on
meeting.
8. It's not consent, it's actually 8.
It's actually, yes, item number 8.
So
It's not under the consent. On the formal agenda, it's under, it's item number 8.
Yeah.
This is the formal.
Wait a minute.
It's not on the phone.
It's
Wait.
not here.
Wait a minute.
It's not on the phone. It's on the
Well,
COD.
maybe we should
Of the
table it.
COD.
Oh, I got it.
Let's table it. Huh, it's on- Yeah, it's,
Can't, it's not on the agenda.
okay.
I don't have it
It's on the formal.
It's not the one I got.
One you got?
I got these on COD.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's all right. So,
Not as transparent then, I
Ah,
guess.
guess not. So,
All right.
Put it on for the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll just put it on the next meeting.
that's fine.
next time?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to table it then?
Madam President,
I
I would just like to make a,
Trustee
if
Wagner.
if Trustee Bolfus is done.
But, yeah,
I
yes,
just a
yes.
comment. I think this is wonderful, you know, that we're making progress towards transparency.
Yeah.
My only concern here is that, and I didn't get that, it was not in my packet either, but my only concern is that we keep referencing the Illinois Policy Institute. And I think we're capable of doing these things on our own. I mean, I think that they've done a service to point out a problem or maybe a deficiencies, but I feel uncomfortable being tied to a group that may or may not have another political agenda. So, I mean, I think we can do transparency on our own and thank them for pointing things out to us, but I hate to see us keep mentioning the group. That's just my observation, that's all.
Well, yeah. We're definitely watching over things, that's for sure, so. All right, with this then, since there were some documents missing in some of the packets, we should have everybody be whole here, so.
Yeah,
wanna-
that's fine.
Yeah, we'll just do a quick motion to table this,
Well,
or, yes,
Can we-
trustee Bolfus.
can we vote it's on our COWs,
So
moving
whatever's-
forward.
Yeah, whatever
but,
makes you comfortable.
Let's get the information and put it on the
Okay,
form
that
on
works for me too.
Okay.
Okay, that works for me.
Not there.
But then we'll fill in the gaps that we apparently
Right.
have here, so, all right, okay. So then we're gonna do a roll call vote
Consensus
to move this forward,
Okay,
yes.
trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglio?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bowinkle?
Yes, okay. Item number 9. Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, grant agreement for St. Charles Road Bridge. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff wishes the board to consider a resolution approving a grant agreement with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for repairs to the St. Charles Road Bridge. The Village of Villa Park has been awarded a grant for repairs to the St. Charles Road Bridge by the state of Illinois in the amount of $80,000. A grant agreement with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity needs to be executed. Also, a resolution authorizing a representative to execute the agreement is also needed. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Questions and comments from the public about this? All right, state your name for the record.
Cheryl Tucker.
Yes.
Fourth for South Point. I just
Yes.
have a couple questions. This is for the grant only, correct? There is no proposal of what the cost will be to fix that bridge involved in this?
It's a grant sharing agreement, I believe, and Director Giskeles, would you like to go
We'll
into
need-
the fine points?
Yeah, we'll need you to come up to the podium. We can catch you on the mic.
Yes, what's before you tonight is merely a grant agreement with the Department of Commerce and Economic Community Opportunity. The actual scope of work, obviously we had to develop a scope of work when we applied for the grant, but that was 5 years ago, so we'll have to revisit that and update that a little bit. It's basically from relatively minor repairs to the bridge.
Any other questions, Cheryl, before we see if anybody else from the, okay. Right, yeah, Vita, stay close, so, yeah, we need you up at the mic, yeah.
Okay. Is there going to be a future proposal of what the cost will be? I mean, we've got a grant. Is there going to be some groundwork on what the cost is to fix the bridge and what's wrong with the bridge?
If you'd like to answer that, or the manager, whoever.
Well, there'll be
whoever can-
plans developed, and the project will be publicly bid, because it is over $20,000.
All right. You good? Okay. Any other questions and comments from the public about this one? Okay, questions and comments from the board about this? I have a really, really quick one. When we talk about minor repairs, what exactly does that mean, minor repairs? Maybe it's a bigger question than I think, but you can just give us an idea of what we're talking about in terms of repairs.
Right, basically, we need to do a little bit of stabilization work to the abutments, and there's some voids opening up in the bridge deck that have to be fixed and then
Okay.
overlaid.
Okay.
It is structurally sound, they're not structural repairs.
Okay, and then how long, what's the duration of the project once we get it underway, once we get through all the,
My guess is months, several months.
several months? Okay.
We were actually hoping to do this as part of St. Charles Road resurfacing,
Mm.
and this is how long it took for the money
Wow,
to finally make its way here.
that's a few years now at
Yes, it
least.
has.
Okay, wait, hold on just a second. Trustee Case has a question.
Isn't part of that Elmhurst too?
Well,
How does that work?
Elmhurst found an agreement that says the bridge is ours.
Really?
Oh, really?
5 years ago, we
Yes,
went through this.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
We
for
tried.
that.
It's not from 1981.
No.
Okay.
So when it's fixed, Elmhurst is gonna want it back then, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, boy. All right. Trustee Bolfus.
Wasn't it
Bees-
5 years ago? Didn't we do some work on it 5 years ago, or is it, that work was never done?
No, that was the evaluation that determined the work needed to be done, and then we applied to the state capital bill for the funding.
Oh, okay. I thought we had done the work, so, but that's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
One more question.
Yes, sure.
Who put the-
Trustee Case.
Who paid for the bike path then? Or the trail underneath?
That's
That
the
was
great-
a regional project. That was
Salt Creek.
grant funded, and I think there were 6 communities involved. It was the green belt, so it was done in, I think, in 3 phases, and we were not one of the lead agencies. We just participated for our share of it, but most of it, I think, was federal funding.
So do we maintain that?
I think we have to maintain our segment, but I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
It does run through Rotary Park, I know that.
Yes. The path. The path does, yes. Okay. Any other questions from the?
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. All right, then we'll roll call vote.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay. We're going to move on to the formal agenda. We're going to convene to the formal agenda. Okay. Item number 1 on the formal agenda is the village president's report. I have a few things, so bear with me. I'll get through them as fast as I can. They're timely. But first of all, just want to wish everybody a happy new year. It's great to be back. And it's been about a month since we've had our last board meeting, so time flies. But it's good to be back. First thing, I just wanted to give a congratulations to the manager's confidential executive assistant, Erin Knackstead. Many residents know her, have talked to her over the phone. She had a baby. She's on maternity leave now. She had a baby girl, Lily Mae, born on December 30th, weighed 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So in case you've called the office and you've noticed a different voice, Erin is out on maternity leave. But we have Michelle McNutt-Price. This was her first attempt at our agenda, and she did a really good job. We're very happy to have her on board in the interim, and we look forward to Erin's return. But in the meantime, we've enjoyed having Michelle McNutt-Price working with us. So in case you notice a different voice when you call the village manager's office, that's why. So anyway, congratulations, Erin, if you're watching. Second of all, just a friendly reminder that for tree recycling, if you had a live tree over the holidays, make sure you put it on the Parkway curb between now and Friday, January 17th. The 17th is the last day that Roy Strawn will come by and pick that up for free. Make sure all the ornaments and the bag, the stand, everything is off the tree. It has to be naked. Put it on the curb, and we'll pick it up for you, okay? Also, just if you have holiday lights that you still want to recycle or don't use anymore, Villa Park Ace is still taking them and still recycling them, so make sure you drop them off at the Villa Park Ace at 46 South Villa Avenue. Don't leave them laying around, don't throw them out. You can recycle them. So, also, there's 2 entities in town that are doing a coat drive for homeless veterans. We have the Lions Club of Villa Park doing a coat drive. They're looking for coats, sweaters, hats, gloves, scarves, blankets, all sorts of different things for our homeless veterans. So if you would like to donate, you can certainly contact Janice Valentes at 630-530-4911, or you can contact GM Smith & Sons Realtors in Villa Park. They are also doing a coat drive for homeless veterans. You can contact Kathy Smith at the Realtor office on Villa Avenue at 630-834-2632. There's still a lot of needs in town, and even though we're having a warm-up, we might have another deep freeze before we hit the spring. So anything that anybody can do, that would be fabulous. Also, just a little friendly reminder for everybody involved in regards to clearing the sidewalks, your driveways, your parking lots, whatever it is, make sure you clear it, during the snowstorms. We've had a really, really rough winter. Also, remember to don't cover the hydrants with the snow. I'm looking at the fire chief right now, and he's so please don't forget to clear the areas around the fire hydrants too. Let's help each other out and keep everything clear. Also, the village has really amped up their electronic communications, And what that means is we are using Twitter, Constant Contact, which is an email system, Nixle, which is a text messaging, also an email system, and we also have a Facebook page. If the residents are interested in signing up, it's free, and to get these electronic notices, it's on anything from weather notices to local happenings, anything related to Villa Park. We're using that as another mode of communications for our residents. If you'd like to get linked up with that, you want more information, you can contact the village manager's office at area code 630-592-6052. And like I said, it doesn't cost you anything, and it's also, we will not share your email or your phone number with anybody else. It's just strictly for village communications purposes. So, also wanted to give another heads up. There's another bridge project that's fixing to be underway this year. This bridge is the bridge replacement deck over Salt Creek, located on North Avenue between the Village Villa Park and the city of Elmhurst. This is an Illinois Department of Transportation project. They're telling us that it's going to start somewhere in the spring 2014, and it'll take maybe around 5 months. So we'll continue to keep you posted on the status of this project, but this is coming this year, and we'll just keep you posted on that. Also, just wanted to give you another FYI. The village is looking at the possibility of joining forces with the Suburban Water Task Force. This is a subgroup established by the West Central Municipal Conference. And what it's about, it's really just to put more pressure on the city of Chicago in regards to our increasing water rates. We've been really wanting to get more involved and charged up, because we are charged up, about the water rates and the constant increases that are being passed on to the residents. And there is an opportunity potentially to participate in this coalition. So we are currently looking at participating in this coalition, and the whole idea would be really approaching the city of Chicago, and it would be tied into, if they were to receive a casino, then some of the proceeds from the casino then would come back to the suburban communities that have been hit really hard by these water increases. So we're learning more about this, but there's an opportunity to be a part of a coalition, and the manager and I are going to be meeting with some folks in the very near future to kind of see what this means, how we can be involved, and we'll give you more details when we have them, but still pretty fresh off the griddle here. So, but I want to let you all know that we are focusing on this effort and want to do what we can. So, also wanted to introduce Matt Pachelik. Did I get it right? Okay, he's a reporter with the Suburban Life and Villa Park Argus. He took over for Sarah Small. And he's going to be covering Villa Park more often. Maybe you've already seen some of his articles in the paper, but he's at our meeting today, and it'll be nice to have your presence here. We appreciate you being out. You've already kind of hit the street, and you're really working hard for Villa Park already, and we just appreciate the exposure, and it's nice to have you on board. So I wanted to just introduce you in case people wonder who you are. We also have Paul from the Independent here. It's nice to see you. You haven't been around in a while, so it's nice to see you. So there you go, yeah. So we've got some reporter presence here tonight, and we appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to go to item number 2 on the formal, public comments on agenda items. This is regarding the items listed under number 4, which is our consent agenda. Anybody have anything on your mind in regards to public comments on the agenda items here on the formal? Anybody? Okay, speak now, forever hold your peace. All righty. Item number 3 then, amendments to the agenda. Does anybody on the board have any amendments or changes you'd like to make to the formal agenda? We already established that the transparency piece is not on there, so for whatever reason, but we'll work on that. And then anybody have any changes? Nothing? Okay. We're gonna move on to item number 4, the consent agenda. This is items A through F. I'll just read the headings for the record. A, minutes from Village COW for December 16th, 2013. B, minutes from the Village formal board meeting for December 16th, 2013. C, the sidewalk program change order. D, text amendment concerning Village's transit-oriented overlay district, TOD, regards to the rezoning. E, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, grant agreement for the St. Charles Road Bridge. And F, sale of public surplus vehicles. A motion for the consent agenda?
Madam President,
Trustee Taglia.
I'll move for the consent agenda.
Okay. Have a second?
Madam President,
Trustee Wagner.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the board on this? We good? Okay. Roll call vote.
Trustee Davis.
Abstain.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Okay. Item number 5, public comments on non-agenda items. Anybody has anything on your mind in regards to non-agenda items? Approach the podium. Uh-oh.
Is he Paul?
Oh, yeah. What, state your name for the record?
No, I refuse.
The Witness Protection Program?
Just want to warn everybody, nice day today, everything started melting, streets are all wet. Guess what? Temperatures dropped.
Yeah.
Everything's turning to ice. I'm listening to radio in the back, and the salt trucks have been called out, so careful going home. And for any of the residents that are out, if you don't have to go out, anything that was wet today is now covered with ice, so be careful when you leave.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Have any non-agenda items? Are we good? Okay. We're gonna move on to item number 6 on the formal, our village clerk's report. You have anything on your mind?
No, no report tonight.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. Item number 7, village trustees report. We're gonna start on my left tonight. Trustee Davis.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Good, okay, thank you. Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. Just 2 items. Tomorrow, January 14th at 7 PM, the Park and Rec Advisory Commission will meet at Iowa Community Center at 7 PM. And the Environmental Concerns Commission of the village will meet on Thursday, January 23rd, here at Village Hall. And that's all I have.
All right, great, thank you. Okay. All right, I'll move to my right. Trustee Bolfus.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Okay. Trustee Taglia.
Okay, I have a couple things. There was a Life Source event at, Life Source is in the plaza by the Outback Steakhouse.
Yes.
And the village staff and village president myself attended. Some of us gave blood, so thank you to everyone who could and everyone who came. And also, there's kind of a neat event coming up from Life Source. It's kind of exciting. There's going to be a Soldier Field blood drive. And you'll be able to get autographs and take photographs with some of your favorite Chicago players. Participating team members are Dan Hampton, Doug Buffone, and Robbie Gould. And they'll take you on a home team locker room tour as well. So that'll be on Saturday, January 18th, 2014, from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at 1410 South Campus Drive at the United Club level in Chicago. There's free parking in the North Garage. It's co-sponsored by Good Foods. And to schedule an appointment, you can register online at www.lifesource.org, and you must use a code 599E, or you can call Life Source at 877-543-3768. There's some recommendations to prepare yourself before you give blood. You should eat, stay hydrated, bring your ID, and again, it'll be a lot of fun. They say it's pretty cool getting a tour of the Bears locker room. So you can look online. All the information will be there at lifesource.org. Also, next Saturday will be the last day for Villa Park Youth Baseball Association sign up. So if you have young children, 5 and up, you can register Saturday at the Iowa Community Center from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. So come on out if you're interested, your son or your daughter, and let's keep them playing. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Trustee Case. All right. Item number 9, village attorney's report. You have anything for us?
No, good to be here, but no report.
Okay.
You missed the manager, though.
Oh, yes, I sure did. I'm looking right at you. I sure did. All right, we're going to back up. Item number 8, village manager's report. Sorry about that. That's for last.
Thank you, Honor. I passed this evening.
Are you good?
I'm good.
You're good. All righty then. Okay, item number 10, then on formal. Information only, bill listing dated December 16th, 2013, in the amount of $1,241,471.73. Are there any questions on the bill listing? Nope. All righty then. Item number 11 is adjournment.
Madam
Do we have a
President,
motion? Oh,
make a motion to adjourn.
okay, trustee Bolfus, do we have a second? Don't all jump up at the same time now. Let's see. Second,
Madam
Richard?
President,
I'll second.
Okay.
I follow.
You can't second. Trustee Davis.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Our next meeting will be on Monday, January 27th, 7:30 here at Village Hall. Thanks again, great to see everybody. Take care.